If you sell used books on Amazon, whether it be merchant fulfilled or FBA, the way you reprice your inventory has a major impact on not only your sales and your profit, but also your time. Right now, many sellers are losing money, time, or both, not only because of the way in which they reprice, but also the tool in which they are using. And in some cases, you may be missing out and you don't even realize it. Hi, I'm Victor with Master Book Flippers. I've been selling full-time on Amazon since 2016 and started flipping books in 2017. And one of the big mistakes I made out of the gate was my repricing strategy. And today, I'm going to share with you a repricing strategy that we've developed over years and fine-tuned that's going to help ensure that you don't leave money on the table week in and week out, and save you a bunch of time, and on top of that, save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars over the life of your Amazon selling career. In this video, I'm going to expose why the traditional methods of repricing your used books on Amazon is slowly eating at your profits and your time. I'm going to talk about the data blind spots issue, and I'm going to introduce you to something that has never been seen in this industry before. That is having a solution with automatic repricing, no data blind spots, no monthly fees, and perhaps more importantly, the most effective tool to reprice your used books, regardless if you're doing FBA or FBM. I think once you understand and see how this works, the business decision you'll make to leave whatever you're doing today to come to this system will be the easiest of the year. Okay, so let's start with FBA. As you may or may not know, the used buy box generally goes to those that are FBA. And if you're not competitively priced, you're not going to be seen. Okay, just imagine being on Google and your stuff is listed on page 2 or 3. Is anyone going to find you? Maybe once in a while you'll pick up a link. Somebody will click on your link, what have you. Same thing, you may get sales, but you're not going to get sales nearly enough if you're not competitively priced. And when it comes to repricing your books, pennies matter, okay? Not so much when you're sourcing, but when you're repricing, it's important that you're competitively priced. Oftentimes you will see if you price at the buy box, a penny or two below the buy box, you'll get sales while other people just sit there, okay? So you need to be competitively priced in order to get the used buy box to increase the probability of you getting a sale. I am not talking about racing to the bottom. We will get to that later. Now, if you're a merchant fulfilled seller, sort of the same thing. You need to be competitively priced. Nobody's going to pay you $10 or $20 more for your book by looking down the list and finding yours, okay? You need to be competitively priced at the right time. And of course, your competitors are using automatic repricers and you want to be there too. All right, so what are the consequences of poor repricing? I've already mentioned we've got your sales are going to suffer, your profits are going to suffer, but a bunch of other things are going to happen as well, okay? First of all, your inventory is going to sit at Amazon for a little bit longer, maybe a lot longer in some cases. And in many cases, you might be just out of range for getting sales and you don't even realize it. So that's huge. Your inventory is going to sit at Amazon. What's that going to do? That's going to affect your cash flow. Cash flow is obviously very important when we're buying products. And it's going to affect your IPI score with Amazon. Okay, as your inventory turnover is quicker in Amazon, your IPI score will go up. If it doesn't as much, it will go down. Not a good thing. We want to have a healthy IPI score at all times. If you want to jump in and learn more, we have a 22-page guide on repricing in the description below. There'll be a link there, totally free, and that'll help educate you, and you can move quickly and start improving your Amazon business today. Up until now, there have really been about 4 common ways used booksellers reprice their inventory. The first is going into Amazon and simply changing your price. That's one way to do it. Problem with that is, first of all, it's time consuming. The more books you have, it really becomes overwhelming and you'll realize it's virtually impossible to do a good job of that. But I think what's even worse than that is that doing it that way, when you're competing with other sellers who have an automatic repricer, it's not an effective way to reprice at all. Okay. Are you going to get some sales? Well, you'll get more sales the more you lower your price, but you're not really in control of what's going on. Meanwhile, you've got others that are using an automatic repricer where if they want to beat you by a penny, they can while they're sleeping, while you're up worrying about your price and going in changing it manually. So that's number one. Number two is using an automatic repricer, third-party automatic repricer. And this is where they go in. They have various different rules. Some of them are very expensive. Some are much cheaper. But they all share one thing in common, and that is they are telling you a half-truth and labeling it as a feature, okay? They can't always reprice the inventory in which they say because of data blind spots. Again, I won't get into a lot of that on this video. Some of you are already familiar with that might be, but if you download the guide and look at other videos out there, you'll learn all about data blind spots. Major, major issue, which they simply don't disclose and you can't even figure out easily if you're being impacted by this data blind spot issue. I'll give you the analogy. Let's say you buy a Fitbit to walk around and track your walking, right? And then you walk X amount after all day, and then you realize you come to hear that it's telling you you walked 12,000 steps when really you haven't, okay? It's not accurate. And you don't know what time of day it didn't work right, which steps it counted, which ones it didn't, and it just didn't work the way it was supposed to. It's supposed to count your steps. That's the most basic thing it's supposed to do, and it's not doing it for a bunch of your steps. Same sort of thing with this data blind spot issue. Not good, not good at all. Next is using Amazon's Repricer, which doesn't have any data blind spots, which is great. It's free, which is also great, but there's a bunch of different limitations with that one. I'll just mention one here, and that is you can't easily re-raise all your prices at once. Okay, that is a major, major issue. And then we've got a non-automatic repricer. So the non-automatic repricers typically don't have data blind spots, but they don't really operate in the same way as an automatic repricer where in real time, more or less real time, going in and changing your prices round the clock 24/7. They don't react that way. They're more like the first option where it's just changing your price, where the automatic repricers, you're really more concerned about a minimum and a maximum, and then the price will fluctuate in between those based upon the rules you set up. Where the non-automatic repricer is not nearly as effective because it's just going in and changing your price periodically whenever you're initiated or, a few times a day, whatever you have it set up for. All right, let's talk about the hidden costs. So let's break it down into 3 areas. Let's start with the easy one. That's the repricing cost of the subscription itself, okay? So if you're using one of these repricers, you can see that their prices do vary quite a bit. And I've started off with one of the cheapest ones, and then I graduated to one that's more expensive. And then, of course, over time, like most everything, the prices just go up, right? So whatever you see this video at now, these prices could go up even more in the future. So that's the subscription cost alone, okay? The next thing is the data blind spot issue, okay? Well, this is what your situation could be. It could look something like this. And what if you're using a non-automatic repricer? Okay, they don't have data blind spots, but they're not automatically repricing your books. So the non-automatic is either you're paying for a third-party tool or you're going into Amazon Seller Central and just changing your price. That's also a non-automatic. You're just repricing your books. That's all you're doing. So you're definitely not as efficient as using an automatic repricer. All right, introducing Master Book Repricer. All right, first, why did I build this freaking thing? Well, I built it because, as you probably guessed, I don't like getting ripped off. I don't like using tools that say one thing and do another. So I didn't like it at all that I was seeing data blind spots, and I didn't like paying subscription fees. I knew I could build it better, and I did. And we've been using it for years, and our customers have been hounding me, asking me, what do you recommend? And I've never said I recommend any of those third-party repricer tools. I've always said, go use Amazon's Repricer for free, but people complained about how long it took and a whole host of other things, so I addressed those. All right, so that's why I built it. All right, what makes this so freaking different than anything else out there? It's three things, of course, right? We've already gone over them, but I'll mention it again, right? No data blind spots and an automatic repricer, and the kicker is no monthly fees. Okay, so a one-time fee, lifetime access. Okay, and just so you understand how different this is, I just mentioned those three things. We're the only one that, as far as I know, as I make this video, that are doing that. All three of those. On top of that, there isn't one repricer that I'm aware of that does two out of the three. Not a one, right? If you've got no data blind spots, you're paying monthly fees, and you don't have an automatic repricer. If you got an automatic repricer, you've got data blind spots. Any paid tool out there just doesn't measure up to what we're offering you. And on top of that, we built this specifically for Amazon booksellers, okay? Whether it be merchant fulfilled or FBA. So you're going to have and see things in here that you typically don't see in any other repricing tool that I know of, okay? You have the ability to track the sales pattern of the book. That's critically important when it comes to reselling used books, right? We have textbooks. We have summer textbooks, July textbooks, we've got holiday books, all these things, and you can track that. You can take screenshots of the offers on a certain date and put them right into the system. We've got metrics for you. You can put in notes, all these things, and I built it because I've been doing this for years, and I've got feedback from our customers, and this is the result. So you're getting something that you're just not going to find. There's no comparing it to really anything else. Anything else you find for repricing, you're really comparing oranges to apples. And let me give you this analogy. So I think when people first start off, especially if they're not repricing, they just, they got a faucet, they got a few little sales, and here's what happens. Here's the kicker, right? They start using a repricer. It doesn't even matter which one it is. And all of a sudden they see that trickle go from a few drops to now they're seeing something. They're very, very excited. And this is where you get locked in. You don't even look at anything else. You've got a million things to do. I got it. I understand. But here's what you get with Master Book Repricer. Get that faucet to go on full blast, right? The way it really should. I want to share a quick message that I received from one of our Master Book Repricer users. His experience highlights exactly what I've been talking about. Having the right tools makes all the difference in running an efficient book flipping business. All right, so this is the main screen where you house all your books. And these are the basic fields that you see right here. Of course, you've got the SKU, the title, the ASIN, you've got your selling price, you got your minimum price, maximum, repricing rule. And then if you want to go look right into the Amazon listing or Keepa, we've got direct links to that. Now we're looking at are some additional fields, and some of these fields you're probably not going to find in other repricing tools. So we've got the sales pattern of the book. So obviously, if you're at all familiar with selling used books on Amazon, there are books that have some seasonality to them, particularly textbooks. So you definitely want to be aware of which books are textbooks and which are not. If you are using Master Book Flippers, we do have the vast majority of our books already pre-labeled. So this obviously integrates with Master Book Flippers in a great way. But if you're using any other system or you simply have tracked this yourself, which I recommend, then you can plug in the sales pattern. Also, the condition of the book. We've got the future reprice date. Now, this may or may not be in other tools. I don't really know. I don't think it is in most. And this is very, very effective when you are planning on when you want to actually reprice your books, particularly with textbooks or holiday books. Then we've got the notes section. So this is really good. For some books, you're going to want to plug in notes, whatever it might be. You can put in really long notes, in fact. And then we've got screenshots, and the ability to put screenshots right into your repricing software is going to give you some book intelligence that you're really not going to get any other way. And then we've got whatever you purchase the book for. We have a field for the break-even price. And if you're with Master Book Flippers, we have a tool so you can calculate that. Kind of important to know. And then we have the book age field in months. So that can be very helpful. And again, that's going to be populated for you based upon what you put into the system regarding when you had shipped the book to Amazon. All right, so when it comes to repricing your books, you could reprice all your books exactly the same if you want. I think most people probably wouldn't want to do that. And you can filter out books by a variety of different fields. For example, textbooks would be a popular one you'd want to do. So in this example, so we're looking at only textbooks. We've isolated them by the sales pattern, and we only want to look at textbooks that cost us more than $35. And you can see that's what we have. So in this example, if you wanted to lower the price by 5%, you can see we have that field set up for you. You would simply copy and paste over the minimum, and you would lower all your books that met that criteria by 5% if that's what you wanted to do. And of course, you are not limited to 5%. You can pick whatever numbers you want, and you don't need to apply this only to the minimum. You could raise the maximum price. You could lower the maximum price. Complete flexibility as to however you like. All right, we also have a special attention field. So there are going to probably be some books in your inventory that you want to pay special attention to for whatever reason. Maybe you have multiple copies. Maybe you just paid a lot of money for a particular book, and you can just check those off. And then from there, we have a special attention view where all the books that you marked as special attention will be in there. So making it really easy to find the books that you want to give that extra care for regarding your repricing. And then we've got a super search field. So this will search by title, SKU, and ASIN. There's a similar functionality in Seller Central in your inventory page, except this is much faster. And then on top of that, you can search by a lot of other things if you wanted to. So in this search, we're actually looking for books that are either between 4 and 6 months old. They have a total buy cost of $45 or more, and the condition is either good, very good, or like new. So we could talk a long time about the different types of searches you can do in here, and it's very, very powerful, likely more powerful than any other tool you've ever seen. But we don't have time on this quick video. Just know that you have the capability to make the repricing views as simple or as granular as you like. Okay, so we know when it comes to repricing, there's going to be times you just want to look at one book, sometimes without distractions. And this interface we have is great for doing that. This is where you're looking at one book. You kind of have all the information about the book in front of you. You've got links to Keepa, the pricing card, the Amazon listing, any kind of notes you might have put in there, all kinds of good stuff. And you can pull up any book using this tool if you want to look at books one at a time. This is a great way to do it. And of course, you've got your screenshots in there. And we also put some reminders on tips on the workflow just to help you out. And this will be on every one of the interfaces for a book that you might pull up. And then lastly, we even have a dashboard. So this dashboard is awesome. Anything that you put in your database will be reflected here in real time, whether you want to know how many books you've got special attention, the book conditions, how's your distribution of your sales pattern. We got a nice pie chart for that. How old is your inventory? You won't need to go into Seller Central and run crazy reports that make it difficult to figure out. You just look on here immediately and know. You might want to know how, from an accounting perspective, what's the value of your inventory? What did you pay for your inventory? You're not going to get that in Seller Central. You have that here easily. How many books do you have in stock? All this good stuff, and this is all part of the package. If you enjoyed and found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more on Amazon book selling strategy. And before you go, don't forget to grab your free ultimate guide to Amazon used book repricing using the link in the description below.